do? We begin to push an agenda. We begin to, let me give you a good example. Years ago, I was taking care of my father, and he was a military man, died of nuclear poisoning. He was a nuclear physician and was caught outside in an atomic blast. Took him 30 years to die from radiation poisoning. But in the last couple of years, it was not particularly pleasant. And at one point in the last year of his life, he was taking 78 pills a day, by count. And one afternoon he called. He was living alone at that time. My mother had finally given up and died. And we know why, because she was just tired of him. God bless her. And he was alone, and he was counting on all his pills. And he called me on the phone. I lived about 1,500 miles away. And he said, I've decided I'm not taking the blue ones anymore. I said, okay, Dad. Okay. He said, you're not going to argue with me? And I said, no. How many blue ones you got? I got 12. I said, well, do you know what they are? He said, I forget most of them, but they're all there. I said, well, if you don't want to take them, that's fine. He said, well, gosh, I thought you'd put up a little bit of resistance. I said, well, Dad, you know, you're older than me. You are my father. You're a general in the Army. I'm not going to be telling you what to do. You might want to call your doctor and see what the consequences are. Well, oh, that'd be a good idea. So he called. A couple hours later, I got a phone call from the physician saying, you got to get down here. Fly down here. Your father's not going to take... I said, I know the blue ones. He said, the blue ones? He said, the green ones and the blue ones. I said, well, now we're getting serious. So I flew home, and a couple of hours later, I was there, and I said, Dad, what is this? And he had them all laid out on the table. I said, that one, and not the pink ones. And I said, man, you're getting rid of a lot today. He said, you know, I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it. I don't see any value in it anymore. Your mother's been gone a long time. I'm not feeling really good. Why, you know, I'm not doing it. I said, okay. Well, we have to go to the physician tomorrow. So we went, and this young, wonderful physician, Doogie Howser, came out, and he said, you have got to talk your father into this. And I said, sir, you don't understand. First, he's my father, so I'm up against a brick wall. Second, he's a general. You don't tell generals what to do. I realize you're a civilian doctor, and you don't have that clue. He's also 90 years older than you. So we're not doing it. He said, he's going to die if he doesn't take those. I said, he's going to die if he takes them. At this point, is this going to affect his quality of life for a long time? He said, well, I've never had anybody ask me that. And I said, I'm asking you now. What are each of these pills doing? My father ended up deciding he would take the orange ones and the yellow ones every other day. And anything that was white, he would take. I said, you know what? Okay. And the doctor said, do you know you're going to be responsible for his death? I said, unless I kill him personally with my bare hands, which could happen. No, this is his decision. Well, that's a pretty tough decision. I said, you have no idea how hard that is to let my father live his life the way he chooses, sir. That's what we have to do. That's the gift of love. I will love you the way you are, not the way I want you to be. And if it causes you to live 3 days less, then I will miss you, and I better start loving you even more for the next 3 days that we have. Caring overload is when we start to push our own agenda. Caring overload is when we begin to become a sponge. And I want you to think about that for a minute. I think most of us are sponges. What happens to a sponge when you stick it in a puddle of water or there's water on the counter? It absorbs it, and so it gets bigger. So all of us are getting bigger? Of course we are. Look at this. Look at how much trauma we're carrying. And I do, and I think we absorb, and we absorb. And I think that's what happens with every single person you meet. Whether they're telling you their story in the grocery store, whether you're sitting next to them in church and there are a few minutes before the pastor or the priest comes and starts the service, we're whispering to each other, or whether you're sitting at the bedside or across one if you're a therapist. And I think we absorb a little bit. You don't absorb a lot of everybody's story, but I think you absorb a little of everybody's. And if you absorbed a little of your 10 o'clock and then you go and see someone at lunch, and then you were in the grocery store at 4:30 and then someone called you late at night, you're absorbing all of those things. And sponges have a magnificent capacity to absorb a tremendous amount, whether you're a caregiver or caretaker. But what happens to a sponge when you put too much water on it? Yeah, it gets to a point where it can't absorb anymore. And then what happens? You get supersaturated. What happens to that sponge? It does. It starts to leak. And I think that's what happens to us, especially if we get caught in this codependent where I need to care for you more than you need me to care. When I can't let you get better because you might not need me. When if you don't need, what do you mean you don't need me anymore? I need you. I need you to need me. Now, in a way that's not bad, but you can already see where that can get to be where I will have to keep you in a position of need to meet my needs. And your needs and mine have to be met somewhere else. They cannot be met by our clients or by our families.